Some of the water sitting in your glass right now may be older than the sun itself, not the glass, not the ocean it was poured from. The actual molecules, the specific arrangement of hydrogen and oxygen holding together, may have existed before our star ever ignited. Here is how strange that is. Water forms when hydrogen and oxygen atoms bond. That happens all over the universe, all the time. Some of those bonds likely formed in cold interstellar clouds, vast frozen pockets of gas and dust drifting between stars, long before our solar system took shape. Temperatures out there hover barely above absolute zero, cold enough that water molecules can form on the surfaces of dust grains and simply sit there, frozen, waiting. Then, billions of years ago, one of those clouds collapsed. Gravity pulled the gas and dust inward, spinning it into a disk. And at the center of that disk, pressure and heat lit the first nuclear fires of the sunday. The leftover material, the outer parts of the disk, clumped together into planets, moons, asteroids, and comets. Earth formed out of that same debris. And, tucked inside the rubble, riding along in icy grains and rocky fragments, was water. Water that had already existed before the sun was a star. So when Earth came together, it did not create its water from scratch, it inherited it. And ever since, that water has been recycled endlessly, in a loop that never stops and never really finishes. It evaporates off oceans and lakes. It rises, cools, and falls again as rain. It freezes into glaciers and snowpacks. It flows through rivers, back toward the sea. It enters the bodies of plants and animals, pulled up through roots, swallowed, absorbed into blood and cells, and it leaves again, through breath, sweat, and waste, back into soil and air and sky. Around and around, for as long as Earth has had an atmosphere. That means the sip of water you just took is not new. It is borrowed from a cycle older than any city ever built, older than animals, quite possibly older than the planet you are standing on. To be fair, this does not mean every single molecule in your glass has some unbroken, traceable, dramatic backstory, a clean line from a specific interstellar cloud to your kitchen tap. Water mixes far too thoroughly for that kind of certainty. Molecules swap, evaporate, combine, and separate constantly over billions of years, across oceans, clouds, and living bodies. Any specific chain of custody gets erased almost immediately. But that messiness does not erase the bigger truth. It just means you cannot point to one drop and narrate its personal history. What you can say is that ordinary water, the stuff filling your glass, your cells, the clouds outside your window, connects you to genuinely deep cosmic history. Not metaphorically, literally, at the level of atoms. Think about where the ingredients even came from. Hydrogen is not a recent invention. It was born shortly after the Big Bang itself, one of the very first elements to exist in the universe, formed while everything was still hot, dense, and only minutes old. Oxygen came much later, forged inside the cores of stars, built atom by atom through nuclear fusion, then scattered into space when those stars eventually died. Two elements, separated by billions of years of cosmic history, that eventually found each other and bonded into something as plain and unremarkable as water. Put them together, and you get the exact liquid that fills your cells, your blood, the rivers outside, the clouds overhead. We treat water as background, invisible, boring, the least interesting thing in the room, simply because it is everywhere. But every single drop of it is a survivor. It has survived heat and cold, gravity and collision, chemistry and unimaginable stretches of time, just to end up right here, right now, in your glass. So the next time you drink water, remember what you are actually doing. You are not just hydrating. You are touching matter that is older than the sun. Ancient material that somehow learned, after all that time, how to flow. Follow for more random things you may not know.